The child found on the beach was identical to the missing son of the millionaire. Then, Michael Thompson walked along the sand of Santa Monica Beach, trying to forget another difficult day at work, when something made his heart stop. A boy was sitting on the rocks near the water, drawing in the sand with a stick. The resemblance was impossible to ignore. The same wind-tousled brown hair, the same bright green eyes filled with curiosity, even that small scar on his chin that his son Ethan had gotten at age 2 after falling off his bike. Michael felt his legs tremble. It had been 3 years since he'd last seen his own son. "My God," he murmured, stepping closer slowly. The boy looked up, and Michael was certain. It was Ethan, his Ethan. But when he took another step, the child startled and backed away. "Hey, don't be scared," Michael said, trying to steady his voice. "Ethan, Ethan, where are you?" A woman's voice called in the distance. A grey-haired lady came running across the sand, clearly worried. When she saw Michael near the boy, her expression turned suspicious. "What do you want with my grandson?" she asked, stepping protectively in front of the child. Michael stared at her, confused. Grandson? That was his son. He was absolutely sure. "I'm sorry, I thought I recognized him," he said, still bewildered. "Come on, Ethan, let's go," the woman murmured, taking the boy's hand. Michael stood frozen as they walked away. Ethan. She had called the boy Ethan, the same name as his son. It couldn't be a coincidence. That night, Michael couldn't sleep. The image of the boy on the beach wouldn't leave his mind. For 3 years, he had hired the best private investigators to find Ethan. All had come back empty-handed. His ex-wife, Jennifer, had simply vanished with their son after their messy divorce. She had discovered his affairs, and in their last argument, she had screamed that he would never see Ethan again. Michael had thought it was just words said in anger, but Jennifer had kept her promise. She had disappeared without a trace, taking the only thing that truly mattered in his life. The next morning, Michael cancelled all his meetings and returned to the beach. He waited for hours until he saw the pair again. The woman and the boy strolled calmly along the water's edge, him picking up seashells while she watched him fondly. Michael followed at a safe distance, noting every detail. The boy had the exact same mannerisms as Ethan, the same way of tilting his head when thinking, the same habit of running with his arms outstretched like an airplane. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now back to the story. Over the next few days, Michael returned religiously to the beach, always at the same time, always keeping his distance. Their routine seemed simple. They arrived in the morning. The boy played in the sand while the woman knitted under an old umbrella. Sometimes she brought a simple snack in a plastic bag. Michael noticed she seemed nervous, constantly looking around. On the 4th day, she spotted him watching and marched toward him, determined. "You've been following us," she said, her voice firm but frightened. "If you don't stop, I'll call the authorities." "Please, just listen," Michael said, raising his hands peacefully. "I don't mean any harm, it's just... that boy, he looks exactly like my son." "What son?" the woman asked. But there was something in her eyes Michael couldn't read. "My son disappeared 3 years ago with his mother. His name was Ethan. He was the same age as that boy, had the same scar." The woman visibly paled. "You're mistaken. Ethan is my grandson, my daughter's son. She passed when he was just a baby. Since then, I've raised him alone." "What's his name?" Michael pressed. "Ethan," the woman replied softly. "Ethan Brown." Michael felt the world spin. Brown was Jennifer's maiden name. "What was your daughter's name?" The woman hesitated, glancing at the boy playing absently in the sand. That's none of your business. Please leave us alone." She called Ethan and the two hurried away. Michael stood frozen, his heart racing. There were too many coincidences for this to be mere chance. That afternoon, Michael hired a private investigator named Robert Wilson, known for his discretion and efficiency. Within a week, Robert returned with information that left Michael even more bewildered. "The woman's name is Dorothy Brown," Robert said, checking his notes. She arrived in Los Angeles 3 years ago with the boy, who was around 5 at the time. She works as a house cleaner in some homes in Beverly Hills and Malibu. Lives in a small house at the back of a property on Oakwood Avenue. What about her family? That's where it gets interesting. No one in the neighborhood knows of any daughter. She always says her daughter died in childbirth, but some neighbors swear they saw a woman visiting her a few times in the early months. A slim blonde woman who always arrived by taxi. Michael's heart pounded. Jennifer had been slim and blonde. Did you find anything else? Yes. Mrs. Brown is very private, but the neighbors adore her. They say she's a good person, works hard to support the boy. He's enrolled in the local public school and by all accounts is a happy, well-mannered child. And her real name? Dorothy Brown, but I discovered she worked as a maid for a wealthy family years ago. The family's name was Thompson. Michael froze. Thompson was his last name, but he didn't remember any Dorothy. Which Thompson family? Still looking into it, but apparently the lady of the house was named Jennifer. Michael's legs weakened. Jennifer, his ex-wife. The pieces were starting to fit, but there were still too many missing to complete the puzzle. In the following days, Michael kept watching Dorothy and Ethan. With each passing day, he grew more certain the boy was his son. He had the same mannerisms, the same laugh, even the same habit of biting his lip when concentrating. Then, one rainy afternoon, everything changed. Michael was walking along the beach when he saw Ethan running toward the snack stands to take shelter from the sudden downpour. Dorothy had gone to the restroom, leaving the boy alone. Michael ducked under the same awning, keeping a respectful distance. Ethan looked at him curiously, without the initial fear. "Hi," the boy said simply. "Hi," Michael replied, fighting to steady his voice. "Are you alone?" "My grandma went to the bathroom. She'll be right back." "Does your grandma take good care of you?" Ethan smiled and Michael's heart clenched. It was the same smile from when he was little. "She's the best grandma in the world, makes the best chocolate cake and teaches me how to fly kites. She says she learned from my grandpa, who I never met." "What about your parents?" Ethan's smile faded slightly. "Grandma says they left when I was a baby. Sometimes I dream about a man in a suit who taught me to ride a bike, but she says it's just my imagination." Michael had to steady himself to keep from crying. He had taught Ethan to ride a bike in their backyard. What kind of dream? "There's a blue room with planes on the wall, and a man who reads me bedtime stories. He has a deep voice and smells nice, like you." Ethan stopped talking, realizing he'd said something odd. Just then, Dorothy came running up, soaked from the rain. "Ethan!" she screamed, clearly desperate. When she saw Michael, her face turned into a mask of terror. "Stay away from my grandson." "Grandma, it's okay," Ethan said, confused. "He was just talking to me." Dorothy pulled Ethan forcefully, almost hurting him. "Never talk to strangers again. Do you hear me? Never again." Michael watched the two hurry away, but not before noticing the tears in Dorothy's eyes. There was fear there, but also guilt. That night, Michael couldn't stop thinking about his conversation with Ethan. The blue room with airplanes, the bedtime stories, the bicycle, they were all real memories. Ethan remembered him, even if only in fragments. The next day, Michael returned to the beach, but Dorothy and Ethan didn't show up. Not the next day nor the one after. Robert, the investigator, confirmed they hadn't left town, but seemed to be avoiding the beach. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps those of us just starting out. Now back to the story. Michael decided he needed answers. He asked Robert to find the exact address of Dorothy's house. He wasn't going to confront her directly, but he needed to understand what was happening. The house was at the back of a lot on Oakwood Avenue, just as Robert had described. It was simple but well kept, with little potted plants in the window and clothes hanging on the line. Michael hid behind a tree on the street, watching. Around 5 in the afternoon, Dorothy came home from work, exhausted. Ethan greeted her at the door with a hug, clearly happy to see her. The scene was touching, but painful for Michael. That should have been him welcoming his son home. Just as he was about to leave, Michael heard Dorothy talking on the phone. The window was open, and her voice carried clearly to the street. "He found out where we live," she said, nervous. I think he knows the truth. The boy even spoke to him at the beach. There was a pause, as if she were listening to someone on the other end. No, Mrs. Jennifer, he doesn't suspect anything yet, but I'm scared. What if he tries to take Ethan? Michael felt his blood run cold. Jennifer. Dorothy was talking to Jennifer. Are you feeling better? Dorothy continued. I know you promised he'd never find out, but I can't lie to Ethan anymore. He asks questions about his father. Another pause. All right, ma'am, I'll pack our things. We can go to your sister's ranch until things calm down. Michael heard the phone click and took off running. His head was spinning. Jennifer was alive and in contact with Dorothy, and they were planning to run away with Ethan again. That night, Michael called Robert. I need you to find out where Jennifer is now. I'm already on it, Robert said. From what I've uncovered in the last few hours, Dorothy isn't just some housekeeper. She worked for your family for nearly 10 years, even before Ethan was born. She was practically family. Why don't I remember her? You traveled a lot back then, didn't you? She took care of the house and helped with Ethan when he was a baby. Jennifer trusted her completely. Michael vaguely remembered. Jennifer always mentioned a Dorothy who helped her, but he never paid much attention. He was always busy with work, neglecting his family. Where are they now? Still tracking, but I have a lead. I found medical records for a Jennifer Thompson admitted to a private clinic in Pasadena. She's been there for 2 years. Admitted for what? Neurological issues. Seems serious. Michael felt his world collapse. Jennifer was sick, hospitalized for 2 years, and he hadn't even known. The next morning, Michael drove to Pasadena. Pinecrest Medical Center was a quiet place, surrounded by well-kept gardens. At the reception desk, he asked for Jennifer Thompson. Are you family? The receptionist inquired. I'm her ex-husband. The woman hesitated, then called the head nurse. A middle-aged lady appeared, her expression cautious. Mr. Thompson? She asked. Mrs. Jennifer mentioned you. How is she? The nurse sighed. She has a degenerative illness. It started about 4 years ago, but worsened quickly. 2 years ago, she had to be hospitalized because she could no longer care for herself. And the boy? Ethan? Oh yes, Mrs. Dorothy brings him to visit once a month. It's very painful for Mrs. Jennifer because she has moments of clarity mixed with periods of confusion. Sometimes she recognizes her son, sometimes she doesn't. Michael felt a mix of anger and sadness. Jennifer had been suffering for years and he hadn't even known. And Ethan had been visiting his sick mother without truly knowing who she was. Can I see her? The nurse hesitated. She has strict orders not to receive visits from you, but perhaps it's time to reconsider. She's very weak, Mr. Thompson, and in her clearer moments she always talks about Ethan and about you. Michael was led to a spacious, bright room overlooking the gardens. Jennifer was sitting in an armchair, gazing out the window. She was very thin, her short hair now gray, but he could still recognize the woman he'd fallen in love with years ago. Jennifer, he said softly. She turned slowly. For a moment, confusion filled her eyes, then recognition, then tears. Michael, she whispered. You're really here? He moved closer and knelt beside the armchair. I am Jennifer. I'm here. She began to cry, touching his face as if to make sure it wasn't a dream. I'm so sorry, she murmured. Sorry for everything. I was so afraid, so angry. You don't have to apologize now, Michael said, holding her hand. Tell me what happened. Where's Ethan? Jennifer tried to focus, clearly fighting the mental fog. Ethan, he's with Dorothy. She takes care of him for me. When I got sick, I couldn't care for him alone. Why didn't you come to me? I could have helped. I was too proud, too afraid you'd try to take Ethan from me. And later, when the illness started, I thought it would be better if he didn't see me like this. Dorothy promised to care for him until I got better, but... She paused, seeming lost. But you didn't get better, Michael finished gently. The doctors say it's progressive. Some days I'm fine, others I don't even remember who I am. Michael's heart broke. Jennifer was fighting a battle she couldn't win, and she'd faced it alone. Dorothy has been like a mother to Ethan, Jennifer continued with effort. She sold everything she had to pay for my treatment at first, works from dawn to dusk to support him, and still covers part of the expenses here. She truly loves Ethan, doesn't she? Jennifer smiled through her tears, as if he were her own grandchild. She was there when he was born, helped raise him in his early years. When I ran away with him, she followed, said she wouldn't leave me alone. Michael began to understand. Dorothy wasn't a kidnapper or an opportunist. She was a woman who loved Ethan and had sacrificed her own life to protect him and Jennifer. Does she know I found you? She called me yesterday, very scared, said you showed up at the beach and Ethan spoke to you. She's afraid you'll want to take him away. And you? Are you afraid of that? Jennifer looked into his eyes for a long moment. I deserve for you to take Ethan away. I was selfish, proud. I robbed you of 3 years with your son because of my anger. Jennifer, but Michael, you need to understand one thing. Ethan doesn't remember you. To him, Dorothy is the only family he's ever known. If you suddenly show up claiming to be his father, you could traumatize him. Michael knew she was right. Ethan had grown up believing his parents were gone. How could he explain this situation to an 8-year-old boy? What do you think I should do? Talk to Dorothy. She's a wise woman and loves Ethan more than anything. Maybe the two of you can find a way to do this right. Michael spent another hour with Jennifer, listening to stories about the last 3 years, how Ethan had grown, his quirks, his fears, his dreams. It was painful and comforting at the same time to learn about all the moments he'd missed. As he was leaving, Jennifer gripped his hand tightly. Michael, if I get much worse and can't recognize anyone anymore, promise me you'll take care of Dorothy too. She has no one else in the world but Ethan, and she sacrificed everything for us. I promise, he said, and he meant it. On the drive back to Los Angeles, Michael spent hours thinking about the situation. He had the right to fight for custody of Ethan, but would that be best for the boy? Dorothy had been more than a mother to him. It would be cruel to tear a child away from the only family he knew. At the same time, Ethan was his son. Michael had missed 3 crucial years of his life, years he could never get back. He had the right to be part of the boy's future. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now back to the story. The next day, Michael made a decision. Instead of confronting Dorothy legally or aggressively, he would try a different approach. He asked Robert to find out where she worked and went there. Dorothy was a housekeeper for a family in Pacific Palisades. Michael waited outside until she finished in the late afternoon. When she saw him, she froze, fear written across her face. Please don't hurt me, she whispered. I just wanted to protect Ethan. I know, Michael replied calmly. I'm not here to fight with you, Dorothy. I'm here to talk. She eyed him warily, but accepted when he offered her a ride home. During the drive, Michael told her about his visit with Jennifer and how he now understood the situation. You sacrificed your life to take care of Ethan and Jennifer. I see that now. Dorothy began to cry silently. I worked for you for 10 years, she said. I saw Ethan born, helped raise him. When Mrs. Jennifer got sick and asked for my help, I couldn't say no. But I knew it was wrong not to let you know. Why didn't you come to me? Mrs. Jennifer made me promise. She was so hurt, so scared. She said you only wanted Ethan to hurt her. I didn't know if it was true, but you promised to take care of him. Yes, and I love that boy as if he were my own grandson. I know I have no right to him, but... Michael pulled the car over near Dorothy's house and turned to her. Dorothy, I have a proposal for you. She looked at him with fear and hope at the same time. Ethan needs both of us. He needs his father, but he also needs you, the only mother he's ever known. Instead of fighting over custody, what if we work together? How do you mean? I have a big empty house. You could live there, take care of Ethan like you always have, but officially, with a fair salary and legal recognition. Ethan could get to know me gradually without being torn away from you overnight. Dorothy stared at him, as if she couldn't believe what she was hearing. You would do that? More than that. I'll cover all the expenses for Jennifer's treatment, and when Ethan is ready, we'll tell him the truth together." Dorothy broke down in tears of relief. For 3 years, she had carried the burden of supporting a family alone, working tirelessly to pay bills and hiding the truth from Ethan. Michael's offer was more than generous. It was life-saving. "But what if Ethan doesn't want to accept me as his father?" "He will," Dorothy said, her smile wet with tears. "He's always asking about his dad. Sometimes I watch him play and imagine what it would be like for him to have a daddy. You just need to be patient." 2 days later, Michael was officially introduced to Ethan as a friend of Grandma Dorothy's who was going to help them. Ethan greeted him with curiosity, no suspicion in his eyes. For an 8-year-old, the explanation made sense. Michael bought a house in Santa Monica with a view of the ocean Ethan loved so much. Dorothy got her own room. Ethan had a blue bedroom with airplanes on the wall, just like he'd dreamed of. And Michael finally had the chance to get to know his son. The first few months were delicate. Ethan called Michael by his name, treating him like a close family friend. Michael taught him how to fly a kite, took him to see his office, and started reading him bedtime stories. Little by little, a natural bond began to form. Dorothy flourished in the new situation. She no longer had to work as a housekeeper and could devote herself fully to Ethan. She cooked, helped with homework, took him to the park, but now without the crushing weight of doing it all alone. Visits to Jennifer became more frequent. Ethan still thought she was a sick lady Grandma knew, but Michael went along, growing closer to his ex-wife. During Jennifer's lucid moments, they talked about Ethan, the future, and forgiveness. "He's happy," Jennifer said during one visit, looking at the photos Michael had brought. "Look how much he's grown these past months. Taller, brighter. Do you want me to tell him about us?" Jennifer thought for a long moment. "I think he's ready, but let Dorothy be part of it. She'll know the best way to explain." The conversation happened on a Sunday afternoon after lunch. Ethan was in the living room watching cartoons when Michael and Dorothy sat beside him on the couch. "Ethan, we need to talk to you about something important," Dorothy began. "Am I in trouble?" the boy asked, worried. "No, sweetheart. It's about your family." Ethan turned off the TV and paid attention. "Remember how you always ask about your mom and dad? You said they left when I was a baby." "That's true, but it wasn't quite like that. Your mom got sick and couldn't take care of you, and your dad didn't know where you were." Ethan looked confused between Dorothy and Michael. "Michael," Dorothy continued, holding the boy's hand, "is your dad Ethan, your real dad?" Ethan was silent for a long moment, processing the information. Then he looked at Michael with those familiar green eyes. "You're my dad?" "I am," Michael said, his voice thick. "And I'm so sorry it took me so long to find you." "And the sick lady we visit?" "That's your mom," Dorothy explained. "She's sick, but she loves you very much. She asked me to take care of you until she gets better." Ethan took it all in with the natural ease of children. There was no drama, no rejection, just practical questions. "So now you're my dad? And Grandma Dorothy is my real grandma?" "Grandma Dorothy has always been your grandma in heart," Michael said, "and she always will be." "And we'll keep living together?" "Always," Dorothy confirmed. Ethan grinned and threw his arms around them both. "Cool. Now I have a dad, a mom, and a grandma, just like the other kids at school." From that day on, Ethan began calling Michael Dad naturally. There was no forced adjustment period or awkwardness. The bond they had built over the previous months simply gained an official name. 6 months later, Michael formalized the legal adoption of Dorothy as Ethan's grandmother, ensuring she would have all the rights and protections. He also took over official guardianship of Ethan, but kept Dorothy as his primary caregiver. Jennifer had increasingly rare moments of clarity, but during one of them, Michael brought Ethan for a special visit. The boy ran to hug her, calling her Mom for the first time in years. "My baby has grown so much," Jennifer murmured, stroking her son's face. "Are you happy with your dad and Grandma Dorothy?" "I am, Mom. We'll visit you all the time, okay?" "I'll get better soon, and we can play together," Jennifer said, though everyone knew it wasn't true. "I'll wait for you," Ethan replied with the sincerity of a child. 2 years passed. Ethan was now 10 and perfectly settled into his new life. He was a cheerful boy, doing well in school, adored by the staff in their apartment building. Michael had found the right balance between being a present father and giving Dorothy the space to remain the maternal figure Ethan needed. The relationship between Michael and Dorothy had also evolved. She was no longer just an employee or caregiver, but a true part of the family. Michael deeply respected her for the sacrifices she had made and the wisdom with which she had handled everything. Jennifer was still at the clinic, but Michael made sure she received the best possible care. Ethan visited her once a month, and even on days when she didn't recognize him, he stayed by her side, telling her about school and his friends. One afternoon, Ethan was doing homework at the kitchen table while Dorothy made dinner, and Michael checked emails on his laptop. It was an ordinary domestic scene, but it filled Michael with gratitude. He had gotten his son back, but he had also gained a family he never imagined having. "Dad," Ethan said, looking up from his math assignment, "can you help me with this problem?" "Of course," Michael replied, closing the laptop. Dorothy smiled, watching the two of them lean over the notebook. This was the family she had always dreamed of for Ethan, one where he was loved and protected. That night, after Ethan went to bed, Michael and Dorothy talked on the balcony as they did every evening. "Have you ever thought about marrying again?" Michael asked. "Having your own family?" Dorothy laughed. "Michael, I'm 72. My family is Ethan. It's you. It's even Jennifer at the clinic. I don't need anything else. You sacrificed your life to care for a boy who wasn't even your blood grandson." "Love isn't about blood," she replied. "It's about choice. I chose to love Ethan from the day he was born. I chose to stand by Jennifer when she needed me. And now, I choose to be part of this crazy family we've built." Michael smiled. Crazy, but perfect. The following weekend, the three of them went to Santa Monica Beach, the same place where Michael had first found Ethan. The boy ran into the water while Michael and Dorothy sat on the sand watching. "Remember when you first showed up here?" Dorothy asked. "I was so scared, and I was desperate. I thought I'd never be able to prove Ethan was my son." "Love always finds a way," she said. "You didn't give up. Ethan needed his father, Jennifer needed forgiveness, and I needed help. Everything fell into place as it should have." Ethan came running back, wet and grinning. "Dad, come with me. I'll teach you how to make a sandcastle like Grandma Dorothy taught me." Michael stood up, extending his hand to Dorothy. "Come on, Grandma. Show us how." The three spent the afternoon building sandcastles, just like any ordinary family. People walking along the beach greeted them, recognizing the family that was always there on weekends. By all appearances, they were a grandfather, father, and grandson, enjoying a beautiful day together. No one could have imagined the complex story behind that simple scene. The years of separation, pain, illness, and sacrifice that had brought those three people together on the sands of Santa Monica. As the sun began to set, Ethan took both their hands and suggested, "Should we visit Mom tomorrow? I want to tell her about the castle we built." "Yes, let's," Michael replied. And so they walked back home together, carrying buckets, shovels, and damp towels, but most of all carrying the certainty that they had built something far more solid than sandcastles. They had built a family. 3 months later, early on a Tuesday morning, the phone at the clinic rang. Michael answered and heard the calm voice of the head nurse. "Mr. Michael, Mrs. Jennifer took a turn for the worse overnight. She's stable now, but she'd like to see you." Michael, Dorothy, and Ethan immediately drove to Pasadena. Jennifer was awake but visibly weaker. When she saw Ethan, her eyes lit up with a clarity that had been absent for months. "My beautiful boy," she whispered, "come here to Mommy." Ethan approached the bed and Jennifer weakly held his hand. "Ethan, Mommy is going on a very long trip, but before I go, I want you to know something important." "What trip, Mom?" Jennifer looked at Michael and Dorothy, silently drawing strength from them. "A trip to a place where I won't be able to visit you anymore, but I'll always be watching over you from there, okay?" Ethan, with the intuition of children, sensed something was different. "You're going to get better, right? What I can promise is that you'll never be alone. Your dad and Grandma Dorothy will always take care of you, and you'll be very happy. You'll study, make friends, grow up, and become a good man." I promise, Mom. Jennifer turned to Michael. Thank you, she said simply. For forgiving, for loving our son, for taking care of Dorothy. Thank you, Michael replied, for giving me Ethan, for teaching me what really matters. To Dorothy, Jennifer only whispered, my sister, my family. Thank you for everything. Jennifer spent 3 more days at the clinic, receiving daily visits from her makeshift family. On the last day, she was very weak, but still conscious. Ethan held one of her hands, Michael the other, and Dorothy stood at the foot of the bed. Can I sleep now? Jennifer asked like a tired child. Yes, my love, Dorothy answered. We'll take care of everything. Jennifer closed her eyes and a few minutes later drifted into eternal sleep. The funeral was simple, but filled with love. Ethan cried, but understood that his mother had gone to a place where she no longer felt pain. Michael cried for the woman he had loved, for the mother of his son, for the fresh start they'd never had. Dorothy cried for the daughter she had taken into her heart, for the friend who had entrusted her with the most precious gift. In the months that followed, Ethan went through the natural grief of a child. Sometimes he asked if Jennifer was okay, if she missed him. Michael and Dorothy always answered honestly in ways he could understand, reminding him of the good times and the love she had for him. Ethan remained a happy, well-adjusted boy. Losing his mother was painful, but he had a solid foundation of love and support to carry him through. A year later, on a Saturday afternoon, Michael found Ethan in his room looking at a photo of Jennifer. Do you miss her? Michael asked, sitting on the bed beside his son. Yeah, Ethan said. I do. But Grandma Dorothy said that Mom would be happy to know we're doing well, and we are doing well, right, Dad? We are, very well. Dad, can I ask you something? Always. Were you mad at Mom for taking me away? Michael thought carefully about his answer. At first I was, but then I understood she was scared and in pain. Sometimes people do the wrong things when they're hurting a lot. Like when I hit Tyler at school when he teases me. Michael smiled. Sort of. But the important thing is that in the end everything worked out. I found you, got to know Grandma Dorothy, and your mom could see you were safe and happy before she left. I think Mom was right to trust Grandma Dorothy. Why? Because she takes care of us with so much love. And she makes the best chocolate cake in the world. Michael laughed. That's true. That night, during dinner, Ethan made a solemn announcement. I've decided something. Michael and Dorothy stopped eating to pay attention. When I grow up, I'm going to adopt a child who doesn't have a family, just like you adopted me. What do you mean, sweetheart? Dorothy asked. Grandma, you adopted me when I was little and had no one. Dad, you adopted me when you found me on the beach. So when I'm an adult, I'll adopt someone too. Michael and Dorothy exchanged glances, moved by Ethan's natural generosity. I think that's a beautiful idea, Michael said. But you know you've always had family, right? Your mom, me, Grandma Dorothy. Yeah, but we became a real family when we chose to stay together. Family isn't just who you're born with, it's who you choose to stay with. Dorothy had to get up from the table to wipe her tears. That boy, whom she had raised with so much love, understood the essence of life better than many adults. 2 years passed. Ethan was now 12, a balanced and responsible teenager. Michael had found a balance between being a successful businessman and a present father. Dorothy, at 74, was more active than ever, participating in senior groups and doing volunteer work. The family had created their own traditions. Every Sunday, they went to the beach where they had met. Every month, they visited Jennifer's grave. Every Saturday, Michael taught Ethan something new, riding a bike, playing chess, strumming a guitar. Ethan also developed his own tradition. Every year, on the anniversary of Jennifer's death, he wrote her a letter about the year that had passed. Michael kept them all in a special box. Dear Mom, this year I learned to swim properly and got an A in math. Dad took me to see his office and said when I grow up, I can work with him if I want. Grandma Dorothy is teaching a new lady in the building how to knit. She's really patient. Sometimes I dream about you visiting us. You're always smiling and saying you're proud of me. I hope that's true. Dad and Grandma Dorothy take really good care of me. They argue sometimes about what channel to watch on TV, but in the end they always watch what I want. I think they do it on purpose to make me happy. I promise to keep being a good boy and studying hard. Love you forever, Ethan. One Monday morning, Michael was having coffee when Dorothy joined him in the kitchen looking worried. "What's wrong, Dorothy?" "I've been thinking a lot about something lately." "What?" "I'm getting old, Michael. I'm already 74. What if someday I can't take care of Ethan anymore?" Michael set down his coffee cup. "Dorothy, you're doing great. You have more energy than I do." "But what if something happens to me? Ethan already lost his mother. I don't want him to go through that again so soon." "What are you suggesting?" "I want you to get married again." Michael nearly choked. "What?" "Ethan needs a younger mother figure. Someone who can be there for him when he's a teenager, when he gets married, when he has children. Dorothy, you are his mother figure, and I have no interest in getting married again." "Michael, you're only 42. You're a handsome, successful man, a good father. Any woman would be happy to be part of this family. And would you be happy to share Ethan with someone else?" Dorothy sighed. "If it's for his sake, yes. I'm not eternal, Michael. But the love I have for Ethan is. I want to make sure he always has a complete family." Michael grew thoughtful. Dorothy's concern made sense, but the idea of remarrying had never crossed his mind. His life felt complete with Ethan and Dorothy. A few weeks later, at Ethan's school party, Michael met the new teacher, Sarah. She was young, around 35, friendly, and clearly passionate about her work. Ethan adored her and often talked about her at home. "Dad," Miss Sarah said, "you can come to the parent meeting on Thursday." "I can. Why does she want to see me?" "I think she wants to talk about my essay. She said it turned out really nice." At the meeting, Sarah showed Ethan's essay about family. He had written about how a family can be made up of people who choose each other, using his own story as an example. "Ethan is a very special boy," Sarah said. "Mature for his age, empathetic, smart. You've done a wonderful job raising him." "We? You and your mother, Mrs. Dorothy, right? She came by the other day to bring medicine when Ethan had a cold. Such a lovely lady." Michael smiled. "She really is special, and she's not my mother, she's Ethan's grandmother." "Oh, I'm sorry. Do you live together?" "Yes. It's a bit unconventional." Sarah smiled. "The best families always are." After the meeting, Michael and Sarah talked a little longer. She mentioned she was single, fully dedicated to teaching, and had always dreamed of having her own family. "It's hard to find a man who's already a father," she remarked. "Most get scared of the responsibility, but you seem to have it all under control." "It wasn't always like this. Ethan and I found each other almost by chance a few years ago." How romantic. Michael wasn't sure if it was romantic, but it was definitely special. In the months that followed, Sarah and Michael began seeing each other casually. She came over for dinner sometimes, always warmly welcomed by Ethan and Dorothy. Sarah had a way of connecting with people of all ages and quickly became part of the family. Ethan liked her but didn't seem to long for a mother figure beyond Dorothy. To him, Sarah was the cool teacher who sometimes came for dinner and helped with homework. Dorothy watched everything with interest but without hurry. She noticed Michael seemed livelier, laughing more, but also that he kept some emotional distance. One evening, after Ethan had gone to bed and Sarah had left, Dorothy and Michael talked on the terrace. "She's a good person," Dorothy said. "She is. Do you like her?" Michael hesitated. "I do. She's smart, caring, great with Ethan. But I don't know if I'm ready to marry again, Dorothy. My life is already complete." "Michael, you can love more than one person at the same time. Loving Sarah doesn't mean loving Ethan less or forgetting Jennifer." "And you? How would you feel having another woman in the house?" Dorothy smiled. "I'd feel relieved knowing you two have someone younger to take care of you when I'm no longer here." 6 months later, Michael proposed to Sarah. It wasn't a traditional romantic proposal, but a sincere and practical one. He explained the whole family situation, made it clear that Ethan and Dorothy would always come first, and asked if she'd be willing to join their unconventional family. Sarah said yes without hesitation. The wedding was simple, an intimate ceremony with just a few close friends. Ethan was the ring bearer and Dorothy the matron of honor. Jennifer was there in spirit, represented by a discreet photo on the altar. The honeymoon was a weekend at the countryside house, all together. Ethan, now 13, loved having the house full and being able to show Sarah all his favorite spots. The adjustment was easier than Michael had imagined. Sarah didn't try to replace Dorothy as Ethan's maternal figure, but naturally complemented the family. She helped with homework, participated in decisions about the boys' upbringing, but always respected the established hierarchy. Dorothy, in turn, taught Sarah how to cook Ethan's favorite dishes, shared stories from his childhood, and gradually passed some responsibilities to Michael's new wife. Ethan gained an even bigger family, but kept his core bonds intact. He still called Dorothy Grandma, now called Sarah by her name, and had a happier, more balanced father. 2 years after the wedding, Sarah got pregnant. The news was met with joy by the whole family, especially Ethan, who was excited about the idea of being a big brother. "I'll teach the baby everything," he said. "How to ride a bike, how to swim, how to build sandcastles, and how to have a family you choose," Dorothy added, smiling. During the pregnancy, Dorothy became a devoted, soon-to-be great-grandmother. She knitted tiny clothes, helped prepare the baby's room alongside Sarah, and shared all her childcare experience. "Mrs. Dorothy," Sarah said one afternoon as they organized the baby's clothes, "I know you're Ethan's grandma, but I'd like you to be this baby's grandma too." Dorothy was moved. "Are you sure? You have your own family." "My family is this one now. And I can't imagine this baby growing up without your wisdom and love." Olivia was born on a spring morning, a healthy and calm little girl. Ethan was the first to visit her at the hospital, carrying a teddy bear he had picked out himself. "She's so tiny," he murmured, gazing in awe at his sister. "But she's as beautiful as Mom." Michael was moved to hear Ethan call Sarah Mom so naturally. The boy had found space in his heart to love both Jennifer, who remained his first mother, and Sarah, who now cared for him every day. Dorothy, at 77, was radiant as a great-grandmother. She held Olivia with the same tenderness she had held Ethan 15 years earlier, singing the same lullabies she had learned from her own grandmother. The house, once empty and silent, now buzzed with life. Teenage Ethan running through the halls, Olivia crawling after him, Sarah organizing the family routine, Michael balancing work and fatherhood, and Dorothy watching it all with the wise smile of someone who had helped build that family from scratch. On Sunday afternoons, when they all went to Santa Monica Beach together, people saw an ordinary family enjoying the weekend. No one imagined the complex journey that had brought those people together. Ethan, now 15, sometimes told the story to his friends. How his father had found him by chance at the beach, how Grandma Dorothy had sacrificed everything to raise him, how his mother Jennifer had left too soon, and how stepmom Sarah had completed the family. "Sounds like a movie," his friends always said. "It's better than a movie," Ethan would reply, "because it's real." On one of those beach afternoons, Olivia, now 2, chased seagulls while Ethan followed, shielding her from the waves. Michael and Sarah sat on the sand, watching their children. Dorothy knitted under the umbrella, as she always did. "Do you have any regrets?" Sarah asked Michael. "Out of all this mess, all this complication?" Michael looked around. Ethan laughing with Olivia, Dorothy humming softly, Sarah pregnant again with their 3rd child, the beach where it all began. "I regret missing 3 years of Ethan's life. I regret not cherishing Jennifer when we had the chance. I regret taking so long to understand what truly matters. And now? Now I have a family I never imagined possible. I have a son who teaches me about forgiveness and love every day. I have a 77-year-old mother-in-law wiser than anyone I know. I have a wife who shares her heart with ghosts from the past. And soon I'll have another child who'll grow up knowing family is about choice, not blood." Sarah smiled and rested her head on his shoulder. Jennifer would be proud to see Ethan today. I think she would. He turned into a good man despite all our mistakes, because of all the things we got right too. That afternoon, as they were heading home, Ethan surprised everyone with a question. "Dad, can we visit Mom Jennifer's grave tomorrow? I want to take Olivia to meet her. Of course, son, why? I want to tell her about Olivia, about how our family has grown. I think she'd be happy to know. Michael glanced in the rearview mirror, seeing Ethan in the back seat with Olivia in his arms, Dorothy and Sarah chatting softly. 15 years after finding that boy on the beach, he finally understood the true meaning of family. It wasn't about blood ties or legal documents. It was about people who chose to stay together through hard times, who supported each other, who celebrated victories and shared sorrows. Ethan had been found on a beach, but the real discovery had been learning that love takes countless forms, and that the strongest families are built with patience, forgiveness, and so much love. End of story. And now, dear listeners, what did you think of this story of love, forgiveness, and family? Ethan grew up in a family formed by choice and love, not just blood. Dorothy taught us that true motherhood comes from the heart. Jennifer showed us that sometimes love means letting go, and Michael learned it's never too late to start over. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think Michael made the right choice accepting Dorothy as part of the family? Share your honest impressions of this emotional journey in the comments. Don't forget to like, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss more heartwarming stories.